is me, Tumi Chumi Muhwai, and thank you for joining me for another edition of our Afternoon Express Cook-Along. It's a new year and everyone is happy to have made it out of 2020. And what better way to enjoy this New Year's festivities than by cooking up a storm with your everyday ingredients. Today we are out in Maboneng Precinct getting ready to cook along with the amazing chef, businesswoman and author Nthabiseng Ramaboa, more affectionately known as Chef Ndi. Hello, my darling.
Hello, Tumi.
How are you doing?
Very excited to have you in the kitchen.
Before we go into too much detail, I want you to tell us what is on the menu today.
Oh, now I wanted to start first. Happy, happy, happy. I gotta get new year. So we're in the kitchen. I'm a little obsessed with cooking special meals using everyday ingredients. So today we are making 4 recipes.
Okay.
We're starting first with a recipe that uses an ingredient that I think most probably unites us as a country, maize meal. You know?
Right.
So we are making croquettes. We are borrowing from the French. We are making croquettes, pap croquettes, stuffed with spinach and feta. And the other 3 recipes, again, everyday ingredients. We are making Boerewors shakshuka. That is a breakfast option, but it can also work for lunch or even, you know, dinner. And then we're doing southern fried chicken, because we love our southern fried chicken now.
Very much.
And lastly, jollof. We're taking it to the continent. The recipe I got from a female chef friend of mine from Nigeria, Chef Tian, and it is just super delicious and so easy to make.
And for all the recipe details, guys, do go on to afternoonexpress.co.za, but we're gonna get cooking right now. Madam, you mentioned hore, everyday ingredients. I see here we've got spinach, we've got pap, we've got onions, red peppers. Everyone must have this in their pantry or fridge right now, right?
In January, we are working with little. And we know that this definitely, I mean, if you don't have cheese, this recipe still works perfectly.
Perfect.
We had a vegetable garden, and my gogo had spinach, a lot of spinach. So we used to have spinach at least 3 times a week.
I get you.
Yeah, but then just the same way, you know, when she uses it up with like a peanut butter, maybe lima zambani. But then I just thought, you know, why not play around with some delicious recipes? I like that you are starting already with chopping the spinach. Some delicious recipes using spinach. Papa, lemurrojo, but we're giving it a modern twist. So we're going to start obviously by chopping our spinach. We're gonna chop onion as well. The pap croquettes would look like, croquettes are these like ball things. Traditionally, they make them with mashed potato. So they're crispy on the outside, they're deep fried. When you take a bite, it's, you know, that crunch and nice and soft on the inside. And we're going to serve them because you need something to dip them with. Yeah, so dip them in. So we're making a sauce using red pepper. We're going to roast it. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Right? I also like quick wins. Like this is one of the easiest. Fry a morojo, make pap, and then you are done.
That makes so much sense. Like you said, it is January, so this is also a very economical dish.
100%.
Very much.
I'm the queen of economical recipes. And the reason for that for me, Dumi, I grew up in Soweto, and my reality is I grew up around, you know, families that are working with very little. And COVID, especially in our pockets, you know, 2020 was rough, guys. So I just love the idea of just making special meals using budget, if you like. But you don't feel like whether the budget recipes, you know, when you present them. And I have a lot of those actually in my cookbook as well.
I can't wait to have a look at it. But South Africa, I'm sure you are all curious. I'm talking about Chef D. I'm talking about her being an author, a chef, a businesswoman. Who is Chef Ndi? If people want to know exactly who is she, please fill us in.
Ndi Queen Nthabiseng. I'm coming back to the Queen. What's her? Queen Nthabiseng Nti Ramaboa. So Queen is actually my name. I was named from my father's side, Ban Reile Queen. Apparently when I was born, my gogo, my kokwan, unchebile never, oh, this one is a queen. So guys, recognize. And then Nti is the name of my sister. My sisters, people assume that it's short for Nthabiseng, but it's not. Hayako Soweto, I grew up in Soweto, I was born and raised there. Everyone knows Nti. No one knows Nthabiseng. Yeah, so I'm from a family of 3. I have one older sister, younger brother. I've always cooked. I mean, I was always one of those kids in the kitchen. Now, initially, it started as a chore, I get, because, you know, we didn't have help.
Don't remind me.
I would always be, I think that could be enough.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, let's get into the onion. So I was always that one that was happy to assist in the kitchen, and then my sister would do other chores. But at 13, I was already a designated chef.
They knew Holland is not the same as everyone else in this house.
And then when my sister cooks, oh, I hope she doesn't get mad. So then what
she said, what direct translation is, if you didn't want to cook, you should have just said.
Yeah, because the food is either, I mean, this is what I remember, but the food would either be too salty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I think she didn't enjoy cooking as a chore.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I loved it because I grew up with my gogo. We had our gogo, my mom would work, so our gogo would look after us. And I watched her express love with food.
I think we're ready now because I've got all my ingredients together here. I've got my onions that are chopped, my spinach.
And I'll make my way with the coriander, ground coriander, garlic, and our feta.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it.
Meal. Okay, so onion has been cooking for a few minutes. It's nice and translucent. Now we're adding half the garlic, not all of it. We want to cook that until it's nice and fragrant, and then add our spinach.
Okay, perfect. And obviously, Khanaja, we're using Swiss chard spinach. You could use baby spinach.
Anything. And while you add the spinach, my water is also ready.
Perfect.
For my maize meal.
Which is something very important that I think most people don't know. How but it's important to boil the water.
Very important.
I've heard of some people that actually like just make it hot, not like super hot. It has to be like hot.
Oh no, the way I was trained at home, boil the thing. Like boil your water, add salt. Please pass me some of the salt. Sure. Just need to, a little bit, pinch.
I'm also going to add a bit of salt here because I think our spinach is practically almost there. Because that's another thing about it. It's such an amazing ingredient in recipes that it doesn't take forever. If you cook it, we've cut it down very thinly. So once you cook it for about a minute or 3, then it should be, not even a minute, guys, I'm lying. Not a minute, but let's say 3 to 5 minutes. It should be cooked 5. If you want it softer, then you can leave it on for much longer. But I like the crunch at day.
I think let's definitely keep the crunch.
Yeah.
I'm definitely there for the crunch because remember, we want that whole experience in the palate when you take a bite, crunch on the outside, soft with the pap, and then another crunch from the spinach. I want my pap not stiff, but medium consistency. Okay. So I don't want it loose. Yes. Not too loose, Okay. But not too loose because when it's too loose, it's crunch. Because remember, we want that whole experience. So when we make this one, you want to make sure that when you take it, you get it crunch on the outside, medium, soft with the pap, and workable consistency.
I think that we're almost done because your pap is almost done. Luckily, we did make some earlier, and we've also got the spinach medium consistency. So we can actually start rolling them.
Loose and not too loose. Yes.
Okay. So what do we do now?
Not too loose because when it's too loose, the crunch. Because remember, we want to show when we make this one, you want to make sure that when I do that, I think maybe we should also get going with our sauce. Okay. So we're going to make consistency. I think this is just for you to just oil the peppers. Okay. We're going to put them in the oven and cook them at 180. It's already preheating for about 45 minutes. Yeah. And when they come out, we'll take them to the stove. I already made one in advance, but I just want to tell you how I did it. Okay, awesome. Queen of making in advance. So when they come out, we take onion, garlic, a bit of coriander, ground coriander, and just fry those. Obviously, they come out of the oven. As they come out of the oven, I put them in a plastic bag so that they sweat, so it's easy for me to peel them. So I'm going to take the skin off and then de-seed the peppers, chop them, and fry them with onion, garlic, and coriander. Fry them for about 5 minutes because they're already cooked, just for the flavors to come together, and then take it into a blitz machine, food processor, blitz it into a smooth consistency, and we have a sauce. Awesome. Just like this. Okay, great. Let me put these in the oven so long. Fabulous. I'm already just stuffing my croquettes. So when I do this, I always like to use as little stuffing as possible because the more stuffing you put in the pap, then it breaks. True. Yeah, so it's one of those recipes you can make when you have literally very little left, and people won't even know because you made something super special.
And it actually goes a long way, right? And you've done that.
So you mold it. I want to show you. The thing I love about pap is that it's such a beautiful ingredient to work with because look at this. I have a few there ready, and they are coated in breadcrumbs.
Awesome. So we're going to fry it up now, dish it up, and we're done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, Chef. You've got everything together now, and you're about to plate it up for us.
Very excited. This is a modern take to ipapa le morogo.
This is another way to make something economical, very luxurious. Okay.
Obviously, you want to make it seem a little special.
People mustn't know that kipapa. They must just open it up and be like, I cannot believe.
Oh my gosh, what is this? Wow. Imagine your chomi visiting you at the 18th or 19th of January.
Imagine.
When now you are there with your fancy little things.
Doing the
because January for who?
Well, that's the end of the first part of our cook-along, and if you want to keep cooking with us, do make sure you go to afternoonexpress.co.za, but catch us again after these.
Protect what matters to you with insurance from Standard Bank. SMS LIFE to 31492 for a quote that fits your needs.
Welcome back, Mzansi, and yes, you caught us at the perfect time because we are now getting into the second part of our cook-along, and for all the recipe details, do make sure you go to afternoonexpress.co.za. But before we get into this dish, I just need to talk about you a bit. You are a chef, you are a businesswoman, you are an author, and you do have a book recently that you... You had to make sure you bring it here.
Yes, please.
What is this book about? What is it? What recipes can people expect from this?
So in this book, to me, what I try to do is introduce myself to the audience because, you know, I think not many people know about me. So when you look at the book, it tells a story about who I am, where I come from, what inspires my passion for food, the type of food that I like, but then I use food to connect the dots. For instance, when you go to chapter 1, in chapter 1, I'm focusing on recipes using maize meal. Why? Because and maize meal was just the main feature, you know, 4 times a week. So I just thought, let me play around and show delicious recipes. So my family back in Soweto can, even the recipe that we tried, you know, can just pick up some delicious recipes using everyday ingredients. This is a tart. Look at that. How amazing. We've got, you know, like an Asian-inspired pap fried dish because pap is so versatile. And I just needed to do that whole mind shift so that our people know that you can actually play around and have fun with pap. You take it to chapter 2. There, I'm taking you to my inspiration for Mediterranean Mediterranean food. Most people don't know, but I actually lived in Italy for 2 years in my early 20s for love. Don't ask.
Story for another day.
Yes. Yeah, and then recipes continue. When you go to chapter 4, there I'm bringing all my foodie friends, my foodie community, the people that I love that inspire me, and they share recipes. I even have a doggy recipe because you know I am just obsessed with my little baby Uroki. I mean, look at that. This is a strawberry coconut cake for dogs. So all the doggy lovers can make this at home for their babies, and all the ingredients are actually dog friendly.
Wow, guys.
Yeah, so labor of love.
That is amazing. I mean, that book for me, I think it just shows all the influences that make who Ndi is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here about. We're here to speak to Ndi, to cook with Ndi, to enjoy Ndi and her food and everything that you're about.
Absolutely.
So we are in part 2 of our cook along. What is our second dish?
So our second dish is Boerewors shakshuka, also another recipe in the cookbook, like the first recipe in the cookbook, using everyday ingredients. This is a perfect one for breakfast, to lunch and dinner, or the morning after. You know, Maune, Barbie. Not that I know anything about Boerewors, but I know a thing or two about the right food just to get your body right after a heavy night. So let's get cooking.
Let's get cooking in South Africa. Like we said, get all the recipe details on afternoonexpress.co.za. All right, Chef, I've got the Boerewors here. What would you like me to do?
I need you to help me get it out of the casing and turn it into balls.
Okay. So basically, I'm removing it from this casing that it's in, and then pushing it out, making little meatballs basically of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm choosing Boerewors for this recipe because Boerewors already has a lot of flavors in it. You know, I mean, you've got your clove there, you've got your toasted coriander, we've got nutmeg, we've got allspice and black pepper. So if you try it with another sausage, just know that you won't get as like it won't be as flavorful as it would with Boerewors.
And that's also very economical, meaning you're saving on all those other spices because it's already spiced.
Yeah, and we also love it. I mean, we all have Boerewors at home.
I think it's one of our staples, go high. I mean, whenever we buy groceries, you cannot not buy wors. Because you can eat it with so many different things. You have it on its own, you have it with pap, you have it for breakfast, have it for lunch.
There you go.
I mean.
So now we are taking Boerewors, everyday ingredients, and turning it into a shakshuka. Something fancy.
Something fancy, awesome. Okay.
So I've got my oil in the pan.
Okay.
We just need to brown the balls, Boerewors balls, just a little bit. We're gonna brown them. We don't have to cook them all the way through. So about 3 minutes until they're nice and brownish, because we're going to continue cooking in the oven. So this is one of those recipes that cook in the oven. I love recipes like that.
So today we're making shakshuka. What was the influence behind this dish?
The influence for me, to be honest, was just trying to find just special ways of playing with Boerewors, and I like to borrow from Mediterranean dishes. So shakshuka is one of those Mediterranean dishes. It's just a saucy dish made with some meat. All of it happens in one pot. So I just thought with Boerewors, why not? And we are also going to use beans. I've got black beans. I do like black beans, but any type of beans really work for this recipe, except for your baked beans, because they don't have a lot of hold. They will definitely disappear in your sauce. Perfect. So now my Boerewors goes in.
Okay.
I'm also going to add a bit of garlic just to build flavor.
Okay. All right.
So everything with this recipe, to me, is going to happen in one pot.
So in essence, what we're saying here, Koro, you don't have to worry about Dijan. Dishes are not a thing. It's a thing of the past.
Can we forget dishes in Jan?
Just for a little bit. Okay, awesome. So now all I'm doing now is I'm just brushing up our French loaf that's been cut up into nice little slices. And all we want to do is just get those nice char marks on the outside.
I love that.
And I think this is a perfect segue to what I want to ask about you. We've mentioned the chef part that you're very passionate about. We've mentioned the author part and we've seen your book. But you're also a businesswoman.
Yes, ma'am.
You've had a couple of businesses. You've seen the ups and downs of life. Do you want to maybe just fill us in on that?
Oh, absolutely. I have seen things in life that I did not want to see. And experiences that I wish I could have skimmed on, but the reality is everything else that I've gone through has made me the person that I am. I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 27. Only started as a chef in 2014.
Wow.
So I was in fashion. I had 3 retail stores. I was actually one of the first black retailers to open at Melrose Arch in 2009.
I mean, if my elders and my people in my hood were around, they'd do that typical thing when there's a celebration. Because you've basically broken the boundaries. You're doing things that a lot of young black people aspire to, and that's basically why we have you here. We want to know more about you and how our viewers can actually relate to you, and that's what makes it so amazing.
Oh,
you're a chef now, you're a businesswoman, you're an author. You've literally gone through the most, and you are back with a vengeance, basically.
Back with the vengeance. But let me tell you, the journey to being back with the vengeance wasn't easy. Because with my retail stores, fashion wasn't working out for me. I had a facilities management business. I was cleaning up in the precinct. I had buildings I was cleaning up. I was doing move-out services all over the Champagne North. And everything went south. I literally had to sell my home to start over.
Wow.
At one point, I was driving around town in a Porsche Cayenne. I had a Jaguar with the driver. I was that girl. And I had to sell all of that and move from being driven around to jumping into a taxi.
Wow.
Yeah, but I must say, I'm very happy that I chose to bet on myself because I took a risk. And a lot of people were saying, you can never sell your house. I had a house in Hyde Park. You can't, you don't sell property. Sold the house, packed up everything, took my little rock star, we met him earlier, as an emotional companion. We went to LA and to start over. So the idea for LA was to do research and maybe train in the culinary industry. I did a little short thing there and I felt overwhelmed being in a foreign country, starting over. So I came back home and went to international hotel school. And all of this is from the money with the house that I sold.
I mean, this dish is practically done because you've added now the relish to it, you've added the boerewors. What needs to go in? Because I feel like we did make one earlier. We'll show that one now. But this basically goes into the oven, cooks up for how long?
Easy peasy. So it cooks up for as long as you want, like it depends on your eggs.
Okay.
Because in the oven, what we want to do is just cook our eggs.
Okay, perfect.
So if you want your eggs hard, then maybe you go 15 minutes. If you want your eggs loose, then you'll go for about 5 minutes to 10. So I say at home, just choose how long you want it in there. Okay. I don't like my eggs runny, so I definitely do it for like 15 minutes. I already added 2 eggs. So I have a trick that I do.
Okay.
I break my eggs and then take about half of the egg white before I introduce it into the pan. And the reason for that is, if not, then the egg white just covers most of my sauce. So this is just a beauty tip to me, you know?
Yeah, because we all eat with our eyes first, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And from this, then we are ready actually to take up dish into the oven.
Okay.
And let the oven finish it. Yeah, do
Awesome.
the rest.
Well, my bread is ready.
Finish it off.
Finish him.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. That already looks ready. My bread is awesome and ready as well.
Amazing.
It is that time to dig in, time to eat.
Yes.
So that one has been cooking for over 15 minutes because, you know, some people like their eggs well done, hard in the center. All right, the bread is there. And
we have another one for you because I know you like your eggs soft.
Yeah, I do.
I think we should bring it out of the oven.
You can do that. And while Shanti is doing that, I just want to remind you, South Africa, that if you want all the recipe details, do make sure to go to afternoonexpress.co.za for all the ingredients, for all the steps, everything that you need for these amazing recipes. This looks divine. But anyway, there's still a lot more coming up, so do join us after these.
Protect what matters to you with insurance from Standard Bank. SMS LIFE to 31492 for a quote that fits your needs.
Welcome back, South Africa. And if you were not cooking along with us, then you might have missed the first and second segment of our cook along. But we're now at the third part of it, and we're about to get cooking with our jollof rice. Yes. For all the recipe details, do go on to afternoonexpress.co.za. Chef D, we've gone from pap and spinach croquettes. We've done Boerewors shakshuka. We are now doing jollof rice.
Yes.
These are three very completely different dishes.
Absolutely.
And the influences are different.
Completely.
Why are we now going, although you said it's Nigerian, I mustn't confuse it with the Congolese,
no.
The Nigerian jollof.
Yes, this is the Nigerian jollof. If you know anything about jollof, you know there's a war between the Ghanaian jollof and the Nigerian, and my verdict is the Nigerian jollof is the one.
Okay.
So I really love West African food. I love how they cook. I mean, when you look at some of the ingredients they use, like now we've got a beautiful tomato, pepper, and onion, same everyday ingredients as, you know, we enjoy using in South Africa. The difference with them is they love to build flavor with heat. And in this recipe, we are using habanero chili because it's just a beautiful flavor profile. You know, it's just not heat, but it just rounded in your mouth. So we're gonna make it jollof rice because I love West African food and I never miss out on an opportunity to eat jollof rice every time I go to West Africa.
That's perfect. And if South Africa, you want to get cooking along with us, do make sure you head to afternoonexpress.co.za. We've got all of these details loaded over there for you. So Chef, like you mentioned earlier, we've got the habaneros here, the tomatoes, some onion and some red peppers.
Yes,
what would you like me to do over here?
Okay, so what we're going to do first is just try and treat our sauce and give it a beautiful, smooth consistency. I like to do that even when I make a tomato gravy like I. So we'll take all our beautiful sauce base for our sauce, which is tomato, pepper, the onion, and our habanero chili. Toss it into a food processor with a bit of water and blitz that until we get a super smooth consistency.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So is this the base of the actual jollof, or is there something else basically that we need to, is there another sauce? Or is this
no, that's it actually. That is the base of it jollof. Kahle mawenza jollof. I love it jollof also because it's one of those you can enjoy without inyama.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really need to have meat accompanying it. And because it's January, it's the perfect recipe to make because chances are maybe, you know, the fridge is sitting freezer. It's very lonely and has less protein. Because we used up all of it in December, you know?
You know, we were having a chat with some friends about asking this, since we had quite a hectic 2020, are we all still looking to make the same dishes for festive, you know? People were like, no, I'm still gonna make my meat dishes. So this is a perfect one. So if you've used up all those meat dishes like you did, all that meat that you had in your freezer, this is perfect because you're not gonna miss the meat.
At all. And jollof is very, very popular in Africa. So once you have jollof on the menu for your guests, I doubt you'll have people that are not happy. You know, everyone will be so excited because get jollof, babes.
And I think it's an opportunity to take your taste buds on a journey because we're so used to our dishes in South Africa. It's nice being that we couldn't travel last year. At least your taste buds can travel this year, and hopefully the country opens up and we can do a lot more traveling.
Absolutely. So we've been traveling. We've taken you on a beautiful culinary journey. We went to France with our croquettes, and now we are going to West Africa, and we went to the Mediterranean islands with our shakshuka.
Awesome.
So now I've got my oil and onion in the pan. I just want to saute them just for a little bit, and once they've sauteed about 2 minutes, I'm going to add my tomato paste. I'm using tomato paste just to give my tomato sauce body and a bit of color, you know, that beautiful vibrant color. And you want to use tomato paste, especially if you're using fresh tomatoes like us.
Okay, so if I don't have tomatoes, can I use tomato puree? Would that still be fine?
Oh,
or is it always best to use fresh tomatoes?
Yeah, or tomatoes in a can. And if you're using fresh tomatoes, a tip would be a little bit of sugar. So I would add like a teaspoon of sugar because fresh tomatoes tend to be too acidic. But if you're using can, because then the flavor profile is already built in and you've got all those amazing flavors. So no need for sugar. Sugar.
I think I have another question for you that I like to put people on the spot with this question. You've mentioned a couple of different culinary influences. If there's one dish that you could have for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Something like uputu, nkomasi. That is so easy.
Wow.
Yeah, me, I'm so obsessed with ipap, guys. Ngiyayithanda ipap. I grew up eating ipap. It just feels like a hug. You know, even when it's like a rainy day.
True.
And I've had a long week of work and I'm tired and I feel like a hug. Uputu does it for me.
Awesome. That sounds amazing.
And for you?
I always put people on the spot because I never know the answer to this.
Really?
There's so many dishes that I actually do love, Namikai.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I will forever remember, and that's my grandmother's cabbage.
Ooh.
She made the best cabbage, and because we were doing those croquettes today, I missed papa and cabbage.
Don't get me started on cabbage, because Nami cabbage was always there on the plate.
Always. And it was always just the best. I don't know how she did it. To this day, I cannot replicate her recipe.
Please get Gogo's recipe. We want it. Gogo's recipe, please. I'm asking for the people.
Okay, cool. Then let me get started with this. I'm going to go blitz this up quickly.
Okay, perfect.
And then we continue with, because you need this for the...
I definitely need it for this baby here.
Awesome. All right, chef, your sauce is done. We've got the tomatoes, habaneros, red pepper, and onion blended up into a nice little smoothie.
I love a good ushatini.
Ushatini puree.
Ushatini puree, yes.
Someone was actually asking me if they could have that shot as well, if it's a nice hangover shot.
Oh, for sure, if you can handle the heat. But the habanero doesn't play, hey?
I can imagine.
It has a kick. So while you were busy turning this into a beautiful, smooth consistency, I added tomato paste.
Okay.
And cooked it out for about 3 minutes. And now we are going to add our bay leaves. I just need about 4 bay leaves. So I'm using all my ingredients to build flavor. And this is how they do it when they make a jollof.
And that's one of the few things I think people sometimes forget when cooking. Chucking everything in at once, it strips you of flavor.
Yeah.
Whereas adding the flavors one by one is where you get to actually taste every single element of it. And I've always wanted to try a jollof, so I'm glad this is something I get to see firsthand.
I am glad I'm the one that's giving you that first experience.
Amazing, amazing. Okay,
so now I've got my stock. I've added 1 cube of beef stock,
okay,
or chicken stock, whatever you want. And now I'm adding my rice. So we are using the sauce to cook our rice. Yeah. Okay, so the jollof is just now ready to cook and come together, all those flavors. I'm gonna play, and in about 40 to 45 minutes, it will be cooked.
I think you're taking me back to another dish that is very similar to this that's called a paella.
Yeah.
And now this is like an African take on it. So now another debate starts. Who started it first? Who did it first? Was it the Spanish? Was it the Portuguese? Was it the Brazilians? Or was it
the North Africans? No, the West Africans.
I wonder, but this looks like it needs some time to cook. How long would you cook this for?
We are definitely cooking it for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to cover it with foil. If your pot has a lid, that is perfect, because I want to retain all that steam. So my rice steams and cooks beautifully. Okay.
And I know with the paella, you don't stir it. Is it the same concept with the jollof? Do you stir it throughout or not?
No, absolutely not. In fact, my friend who gave me this recipe says that when you cook it, you want it to burn slightly, so it will stick, because remember the starch from the rice. And as it burns slightly, that smokiness will build flavor and add to your flavor. So no stress about stirring or anything like that. You let the steam cook your jollof and let it burn slightly so you get that crust that is flavor.
Awesome stuff. And we've been cooking this one over here for about 35 to 40 minutes, right?
That is ready.
That is ready. I think we need to reveal it so that the viewers can actually see how amazing this has turned out.
It looks, right? So, Dumi, after it cooks for 45 minutes, this is what you want to end up with.
Just
look
the
at
smell.
that.
I think that's the first thing that hit me. That looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely dinner for me tonight.
And you've got all the flavors that you need there. You've got the acidic, you've got the salty, you've got the nutty from the rice, and it's a filling dish because it's a starchy base full of carbs, and it's perfect.
And it's so satisfying. I did not salt, though. I don't know if you remember, because I use stock.
Yes,
stock.
you are correct.
So you salt as you go, because
you might not even need to because of all the flavor.
Wow, delicious.
Okay, I think it's time to dish this baby up because I'm just ready to dig in. Chef, this looks absolutely divine. And I mean, this is basically, I'd say, West Africa on a plate.
Yes, ma'am.
This looks amazing. So we've got all those flavors that have been built, and our chicken. Our rice is nice and firm because we don't want it to be overcooked as well. You want it to still hold its shape, but basically just absorb all those flavors into it.
Yes, ma'am. And nice and sticky.
So
this is a meal in one. I mean, if you're vegetarian, this is your vegetarian option. If you like nyama, you can go ahead and add the nyama to it, but no need.
No need,
Yeah.
no. I think these are one of those few one-pot wonders where you know
Hundreds.
you sorted with one dish.
Yeah.
This one-pot wonder is definitely a stunner, and if you want to get your hands on it, make sure you go to afternoonexpress.co.za for the full ingredient list and steps. But we still have one more dish coming up after these.
Express yourself.
I'll go. I want to music.
Oh, he's back.
Move way.
Clover Fresh Milk.
Made with love by Clover. Express yourself.
Welcome back, South Africa, and yes, Mama, we made it. We are at the end of our cook-along, but we need to end it on a very American note, a very Southern American note, with our Southern fried chicken.
I just want to say universal black folk note because we love Southern fried chicken,
Fried
right?
chicken.
Go ahead, TJ.
It's our thing.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
South Africa, before we get into detail, if you want to get the recipe details, like we always tell you, go to afternoonexpress.co.za. How are we assembling this amazing dish?
This is one of my favorites. Very easy, and you can make ahead actually.
Okay.
So we're making chicken bites this time. Otherwise, you can actually make the whole thing as a fillet, and you have it with your burger or bread, and do like a coleslaw on the side, and Bob's your uncle.
That's amazing. We're not
Yeah.
saying chicken nuggets, guys. This is real chicken.
Yeah.
It's the real thing.
So we're gonna cut it into bite sizes. So I love Southern fried chicken that's super packed with flavor.
Okay.
And for my flavor, I use 2 teaspoons of paprika.
Okay.
I've got a teaspoon of black pepper.
Okay.
So now in goes my oregano.
Okay.
It's 2 teaspoons, and I'm using garlic salt as opposed to normal salt because I love the flavor profile. And
makes sense.
then chicken spice, because I mean you can't make chicken without chicken spice, right?
And I think it's also a staple in most homes. I know for a fact as well, when I go shopping for spices, chicken spice just is always there.
Always, always, always.
Because it's so versatile. You can use it,
Absolutely.
yes, it's a chicken spice, but you can use it in other dishes as
For
well.
many, many things, yeah.
And how big do you want these chicken?
Oh, that size is perfect.
Awesome.
Because once we add the coating, it's going to go slightly bigger. But I want it to be that one bite situation, you know?
Awesome.
So for my wet ingredients, I have a cup of buttermilk. I'm going to mix that with 1 egg. I love buttermilk because it also works as a tenderizer
Very
when you're
true.
making your chicken.
And people don't get that with that little bit of acid. It's not a lot, but that little bit of
Yeah.
acid actually helps with tenderizing
Goes
your meat.
far, right?
Very far.
I actually use it to marinate my chicken when I'm also braaiing. Because have you noticed when you go to a braai, half the time the chicken is not cooked all the way through? So frustrating.
Because they're rushing just to get the brown on the outside, get to the inside, and it also lacks flavor in that instance.
Wabon? Yeah, so try it when you're home, when you're braaiing. Next time, tenderize your meat, your chicken with buttermilk. So now I want to add my flavor,
Okay.
the seasoning, into my buttermilk.
And how much of that spice is going in there?
I'm just using 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
2 tablespoons. And then I want to give it a mix.
So in essence, this is like the marinade for the chicken, but it
Yeah.
also is the flavor for the chicken.
100%, 100%. So what we want to do with this is we want to marinate our chicken in this mixture for about 2 hours.
Okay.
There you go. I'll let you put it in for about 2 hours or overnight even. The longer it marinates, the more tender, obviously, and the
Yes.
more flavors you get into your chicken.
Awesome.
So that goes in there. We're going to put it into this bag.
There
I
we
think
go.
we may have a decent spoon down here
Yes, we do.
for that situation. Ooh, yeah, I like this one because we're just
helps
gonna
you scoop
scoop
it up.
it. Yeah, easy peasy.
And I mean, we've been talking about all your different influences. We've
Yeah.
done the French, we've done the Western Africa. This is America.
Yes,
is there a
ma'am.
specific reason why, of all the flavorful dishes,
Yes.
this one specifically?
To be honest, this one, I mean, Southern fried chicken, we all know that it's just loved in the US. But if you think about it, even for us as South Africans, you mina eat chicken, Southern fried, ngidle kusukela. You know, remember even the other one, that other place that makes ama wings, those wings, lawayana, after you've had.
Yes. After a very long night,
Yeah,
without
yeah.
naming names, but yes. So
Yabo.
it's been something that we know. It's like a tradition of sorts, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is going to set aside, and while it does, we're going to go ahead and mix our dry ingredients. I've got flour, cornstarch. Ooh, so nice and light. I like it. It's so airy. So adding cornstarch, I find that it makes the crust nice and fluffy, right? And
That's
not
what I
so
was about
dense.
to talk about right now, Jorge. This is where the magic happens. Yes,
Yeah.
the spice is great, but
Yeah.
if you don't get it crunchy, then is it really fried chicken?
Absolutely. So not dense, super crunchy, super crunchy. So I'm giving this a mix, and then all the spice mix goes in. Yeah.
Okay.
Flavor, honey, flavor.
That's the one theme that we've kept going. Flavor, flavor, flavor. From
Yes.
the first recipe, the second,
Yeah.
and it's just basically flavor on flavor, and that's what I'm loving about all
Yeah.
these recipes.
Okay, so spice mix ready. What I want to do now is take about 3 tablespoons from our marinade,
Okay.
add it into the flour just to make it a little bit wet. I find that works better when you add your chicken when it comes to coating.
Okay. I didn't know that
Yeah.
trick, but hey, you live and learn, don't you?
Live and learn.
Okay, so ideally, how long would you want to marinate this chicken for?
I would say do it for a minimum of 2 hours.
Minimum.
That way, yes, that way you've got maximum flavor in your
Yeah.
chicken. So when you deep fry it, the coating has the flavor, the chicken itself is just so flavorful.
But
So-
ideally, if you've got time on your hands, South Africa overnight always
Yeah.
works best.
This is an easy recipe. Make it ahead. I mean, I would do this like on a Friday evening because I feel like Southern fried chicken the next day. Toss it in the fridge and then leave it there. The next morning when I make it, it's half the job.
Yes.
Because I've done that part, and this is my favorite part.
Okay, getting our hands dirty. I see.
Yeah, love that.
We are at the end of the cook-along, and I
Yes.
think one thing I've seen throughout this entire cook-along is just your love for food. You light up each time you talk about each recipe, and I think that's one thing people love seeing, you know.
Yeah.
Dee, not just the beautiful lady, but the passion that comes with every single dish that you're preparing. And I really am grateful to be cooking along with you. Thank you so much for sharing these recipes with us.
I'm so glad we got to do this. We got to start a year on a high note, sharing delicious food, because food is a love language, you
True.
know? Yeah, so we hope this inspires you to make all these delicious recipes using everyday ingredients for your family. family.
Great stuff.
Right?
Awesome. So
Now the chicken goes in, and then we take it to be deep fried.
Do you want me to drop all of it in there?
Just individually. We want to try and avoid all that liquid marinade for this stage. Yeah.
And you want it to be able to just hold on to each individual piece.
Absolutely.
You want to clump it all up together.
We don't want that.
But then you've got another trick here that I noticed. Yes, we're going to fry the chicken, but you've mentioned that you said that we're going to fry it here, but we're also going to put it in the oven. Is there a reason for that?
The reason is, as you put it into the oven, your coating becomes extra crispy, and I find that it's also not as oily.
Yes, that is
so
very
try it when you're home, when you're making southern fried chicken, deep fry it and then let it rest. Once it's rested, again, I do this in advance. The next day when I need to enjoy it, I toss it in the oven just to warm it.
Trick.
Yeah, not the microwave, the oven, and it gets super crunchy. Okay, so now I'm gonna go deep fry the chicken.
Awesome. And this is the fun part of this entire experience, right?
Of course.
And Chef, while you're busy frying away there, I'm sure you've got a couple of tips for our viewers.
Oh, 100%. So the tip with deep frying your southern fried chicken is to never touch it for the first 3 minutes when it heats the pan.
Okay.
Yeah, because then when you do touch it, you may move some of the coating. Yeah, so let it fry for about 3 minutes and then start turning.
Okay, as in if you want to check it, give it the first 3 minutes first and
resist the temptation for at least 3 minutes, Jan.
All right, perfect.
To me.
That looks amazing.
It's been a long day. Let's plate and go eat.
But Tonga, I've worked up an appetite and I really cannot wait to dig into these dishes. They look amazing. They spoke to my heart. They definitely spoke to my tummy.
And your budget, I hope.
And my budget, you know, that's the one thing. That's the one thing. Theme, flavor, economical.
Yes.
It's basically, you've touched a nerve. You've struck a nerve. For anyone that feels, I cannot, get January, I cannot, you actually can.
You can, darling.
You can.
Absolutely.
Chef, I'm really excited to try all of these dishes, and I think it's about time we go have this amazing dinner in South Africa. I've been saying you can get all the recipe details on afternoonexpress.co.za. Chef, aroloja.
Arroja, babes.
Let's go eat.
fresh milk.
Made with love by Clover. Express yourself.
Chef, this looks absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to dig in. I think the rest of South Africa is just as excited about these recipes.
Right.
But as we enjoy our dinner that has been cooked with love,
Of course.
I just want to find out from you, what is 2021 looking like for you?
So 2021 for me is just a season for new beginnings.
Okay.
I actually have a new TV show coming up on an international lifestyle network. I'm going to be now in 140 countries. I'm still pinching myself. I'm soon with just excitement.
And I feel like that's what 2020 was. 2020
Yeah.
was a springboard. Yes,
Yeah.
most people feel like it was bad, but I feel like it was also setting a lot of people up for a lot of great things.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to that.
Yeah.
South Africa, I hope you're just as excited as I am. 2021 is looking amazing. I hope you've prayed. I hope you've done whatever needs to be done for this year to be great. But Tina, we have to enjoy our dinner now, South Africa.
Yeah,
so
no, we've been
good night.
cooking.
Stay safe and happy eating. Cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.